Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Happy Sunday morning, everyone, or not so happy if you live basically anywhere near New York City or Boston. It's going to be, I mean, I've lived here most of my life, save for 4 years down in College Park, Maryland, but I've never seen a storm like this before. I was around for, I believe it was 1978. There was some huge storm. I was like 6 years old, and that's fun when you're six. You want a lot of snow when you're six. And obviously we had something back in, I want to say 2014, that was 22 inches of snow. And that was pretty brutal. But this is different because obviously we got a big problem with wind coming in. And this bomb cyclone, which if you want to put two words together to really scare people into watching the Weather Channel 24/7 or Fox Weather, I mean, bomb cyclone is almost as scary sounding as tsunami, right? Some words just don't really sit well. And in this case, we're going to have winds 50, 60, 70 mile an hour gusts. So you combine all this snow and you combine that kind of wind, and you're definitely going to have widespread power outages throughout many states, affecting tens of millions of people. So too late probably to get a generator. I got like a old portable one that works good enough to work a couple of essential things within my house. But otherwise, I mean, a lot of people are going to be in a lot of trouble. And, you know, we don't mean to joke about this stuff, but the combination of all of this coming together and the fact that some storms come in and they last, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 hours, maybe 10 or 12. This thing, all right, which already started early this morning after the sun came up. And now, at least here where I am in northern New Jersey, it's going to run until late Monday afternoon. And the heaviest stuff and the highest winds are going to be on Sunday night, early Monday morning when people are sleeping, if they still have their power. So all I could say is just try to get a contingency plan if you can. Try to find maybe hotels that maybe have generators that work in these sort of situations more and more. You know, the large corporate hotels have that option. So I know not everybody can go out there and just afford to stay in a hotel for, you know, a couple nights on the fly. But at the same time, anything you can do, or you have a relative that maybe has a generator, or maybe just start driving west, because the more west you go, the lower the snowfall amounts are. In other words, on Long Island, it's going to be something like 20, 22 inches. Where I am, it'll be about 20, 22 inches because I'm more east in terms of New Jersey and north. But the more west you go, then this is more of an eastern storm out to sea. And as a result, that's where the heaviest stuff is going to come. So be careful out there, everyone. And obviously, I won't say all the obvious things like don't drive if you don't have to and all those things. I have a flag football game this morning that has not been canceled. I should say later today. And it's going to be, I mean, guys, there's a state of emergency. Maybe we do this thing next week, but it's still on. And if we win, possible playoff spot on the line. I won't get into it. It's fourth grade flag football. It's not what you tuned in for. Meanwhile, is our mayor ready? Is he ready for this storm? Because he certainly wasn't for the last one. I mean, finally, when everything melted, it kind of melted. We still had a lot of snow around, but we started to see feces all over the streets because obviously when all that snow sits, I don't know. I want to get into it because, some of you are probably having like a nice breakfast or liquid brunch right now, but just brutal the way this mayor handled it. He got killed all around, even from the left, as an example of, okay, I guess this is what socialism and collectivism looks like. Well, now, Mamdani, when this guy speaks, all right, there's 100 things you could criticize, but he absolutely does not exude any sort of confidence whatsoever. Because now he's reading. Suddenly the social media slickness is gone and he's being given statements to read. And here is his pitch as far as what New Yorkers can do here. It sounds almost like John F. Kennedy Jr., ask not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. Well, in this case, this is about ask not what your shovel can do for you, but what your shovel can do for New York. This is cut number 25. Go.
For those who want to do more to help your neighbors and earn some extra cash, you too can become an emergency snow shoveler. Just show up at your local sanitation garage between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow with your paperwork, which is accessible online at nyc.gov/snow, and you can get started right away.
Okay. So I got some questions around this. And mainly that is, let's say I'm a guy that's, wants to help out, or a girl for that matter. And I start shoveling and there's already like existing ice in the ground from the last storm. And it's not exactly even terrain, even if everything is perfect and you just start shoveling. Let's say you throw out your back. Let's say you slip on something and hit your head or a bunch of things. My wife's an ER doctor and she sees more people come in injuring themselves shoveling when they're not having, heart attacks and strokes, because again, it's a hard thing to do, especially when you're trying to shovel, 1 or 2 feet of snow. Not something that humans, I don't think, were put on this earth to do. So this is what collectivism, I guess, is all about. But if you get hurt, can you sue the city because the mayor asked you to do this? Now, it's voluntary. I'm sure there's some sort of waiver you sign that says, okay, if you get hurt, well, that's on you. But will the city compensate in any way, shape, or form after asking its citizens to pitch in here? But here's the bigger point, which I'm sure you've heard, but let's drive this point home. So Zohran Mamdani, like almost every other Democrat, supports not needing an ID to vote. One of the most sacred things we do as a U.S. citizen, as any citizen, as every major company mandates, must have ID if you want to vote. And Democrats are firmly against this. And obviously we have the SAVE Act that is currently meandering. It passed the House. It probably won't pass the Senate. It's not going to get by the filibuster, which is 60 votes. Many people saying that, okay, blow up the filibuster so this thing could get passed. Because once you have full integrity in elections, then Democrats are going to have a lot of trouble winning the way they did in 2020, for example. Okay, all fair. Kamala Harris, the only states she won were all states that said that you didn't need an ID to vote. Just saying. All right, all that said, well, Democrats require an ID to get into the Democratic National Convention. And when Democrats, 213 of them, voted against the SAVE Act in the House in Congress, they needed an ID in order to get into the building, to vote against something where they say you don't need ID. Just saying. Now, Zohran Mamdani is saying, okay, if you want to sign up and shovel in New York, well, you're going to need to show not one, but 2 forms of ID. 2 forms of ID. Wow. So you want to vote, don't worry about it. You want to shovel, you're going to need ID. And not just your driver's license, but I guess something else like a birth certificate or maybe a passport or something to show that you are who you are. Boy, if that isn't the richest irony you will ever effing hear, I don't know what is. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan weighing in on Mamdani's proposed $127 billion budget. This guy's budget adds $5 billion with a B to the last budget, where there's already a huge budget shortfall. And the only thing he wants to cut is NYPD. Anything that actually helps the community are only things that he would target to pay for all the ridiculous, stupid free stuff that he wants. And here is Rogan saying it the way only Joe can, only a way a Joe can, not name Biden. This is cut number 1. Go.
The New York proposal is 127 billion.
more.
So it is more.
Holy crap.
So New York City their budget is more than the entire state of California with
Florida.
State of Florida with 3 million more people, or 3 times the people.
Holy
proposal, but for this year, it would be about the same, because if it's 11 million, that's 116. That's the same.
But the point is, it
says it's up 11 billion from the current year.
It's still a proposal, though. He hasn't passed it.
Well, he's not. Yeah, he's a psychopath. Like,
you see,
the amount for migrants is crazy. There should be $0 for illegal immigrants.
But zero. I don't think you can have zero, because if they're going to be there, they're going to be. You have to feed them. You have to do something with them. Like, literally, if you don't feed them, they're going to be robbing stores. They have to. Human beings need food. What are you going to do?
Get them jobs.
How are you going to get a migrant a job?
Get them a job in Guatemala.
Wouldn't you rather give them food than a job? I don't want them taking American citizens' jobs.
Well, the whole thing's a mess.
The whole thing's a mess. But the point is, you can't just throw them away.
Right.
That's the
Unless
problem.
you're going to remove them from the country.
Right. Unless you remove them. Even if you want to put them in jail, that's not cheap.
Right. That costs a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. So that went back and forth. Rogan says get him a job. I'm kind of with his guest there. Well, I don't want American jobs being taken away, especially if they're going to work cheaper. That obviously is that's why Trump does so well with black voters, as well as better than anybody we have seen since 1972 as far as black vote in the last election, because I don't think blacks or Latinos, for that matter, like the fact their social services are being taken away, that they're paying more for things in this country now, all as a result of Democrats like Zohran Mamdani wanting to feed and house and take care of people who broke into the country illegally. I mean, it's just common sense, right? So I agree more with get them a job in Guatemala. In other words, deport them. That's the only way you're going to have a budget that actually works in a place like New York City. They had 11 million. I'm seeing 5 billion. Who cares? I mean, we'll get the number right during the break, but any increase is bad when you already have a huge budget shortfall where you're going to expect the feds. Zoran's going to, since he has Trump's number, it's going to be like, hey, look, you can't let your old city, your hometown, obviously Trump grew up in Queens, fail. So we're going to need a bailout, sir. And it's just not going to happen. So something's got to give. And Kathy Hochul, I mean, I never thought I'd say this. God bless Kathy Hochul, because she has said publicly, I'm not raising taxes statewide to pay for Zohran Mamdani's pet projects. She didn't quite put it that way, but it's exactly what she meant. No question about it. Meanwhile, this is the thing with what is going on as far as liberals are concerned. And there are common sense people on the left, and I can name 2 prominent ones that say things that really, they'll always still vote Democrat. But Fetterman, like, in the end, talks a great game. I want to see him start switching votes and start voting on the very things that he says he supports. All right. And we'll see with the SAVE Act, if it goes to the Senate. He says he supports it. Let's see the vote. All right. That's fine. But Fetterman has been a very pleasant surprise to this point. Bill Maher has lasted in broadcasting as long as he has because he does not say things that are predictable, where you know what he's going to say before he says it, and takes the side of every liberal position as if he was given a memo to do it, like everybody on CNN and MS Now. Basically, can anyone go against the tide and just say something that's common sense just once? No, of course not. So when it comes to men playing against women in sports, well, they'll find a way to argue the 20 side of the 80-20 issue. In this case, this is more of a 90-10 issue as far as voting and needing a voter ID. But Bill Maher obviously has said, no, you need a voter ID in order to vote, and says, no, there should not be men in women's locker rooms. And here is Maher just listing off all the other stupid liberal ideas that are out there. And again, this comes from a staunch liberal, albeit more of an old school one. This is cut number 7. Go.
Don't get what? Abolish the police? Tear down statues of Lincoln? Maybe give communism another shot? Get rid of the border patrol? Get rid of capitalism? White supremacy has never been worse? Gender is always just a social construct? It's okay to have penises in the women's swimming pool in women's prisons? Okay, no, it's not that I'm old. It's that your ideas are stupid.
He just reels those things off, doesn't he? So, and he says these things in front of a Hollywood / Los Angeles live studio audience. Again, The View will say everything that they want the SEALs in the audience think they want to hear. Maher will say things that he just believes in, and you got to admire that. I like a guy with his principles. You're not going to agree with a lot of things that Bill Maher says or feels in terms of his worldview, and especially on Trump, but the guy is honest, and that is a refreshing thing in an industry with so many phonies out there just looking for that next contract and that next retweet and like on social media. This is Joe Concha. Back with so much more in just a moment.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.